Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
Canelo Exposed by Bivol proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of Canelo Exposed by Bivol subscribers. Now, I wanted to really get this off my chest. Until we get some new developments from Canelo and Bivol, I'll probably stop talking about it and move on to other things. But this right here needs to be stated. It needs to be stated clearly, rationally, from someone who knows the sport, and that's me. Okay, Canelo Alvarez was never and will never be the best Mexican fighter of all time. You know, a lot of people think the reason that the main reason that I dislike Canelo so much was because of the Andre thing, and I'm not gonna lie, that's a big reason for it. But the other big reason is that the media, the networks, a lot of the boxing fans, a lot of the Canelo fans, they've been disrespecting and ignorantly putting down great Mexican fighters without even knowing it. Because by even saying Canelo Alvarez, by even insinuating Canelo Alvarez is the best Mexican fighter, you clearly don't know anything about the history of Mexican boxing. Now, Canelo Alvarez is not the best Mexican fighter. Neither is Chavez. Chavez ain't the best Mexican fighter either. Neither is Ruben Olivares, not Marquez, not Eric Morales, not nobody. There's only one Mexican fighter that separated himself in a short time on earth that displayed supreme skills and had a better resume at 23 than Canelo has right now at 31 years old. And that guy goes by the name of Salvador Sanchez. You know, Salvador Sanchez is hands down, not even close, the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. And let me explain to you why. Now, a lot of people say, well, he died at 23 years old. All right. Well, Salvador Sanchez had 46 professional fights at 23. A lot of people go on now about how Canelo has all these fights now and he's 31. This man had a Canelo, as far as the amount of fights he had a Canelo career by the time he was 23. So I don't want to hear it. You look at not just that, but you also look at the style, the skills that he brought to the table. I mean, the guy could box, he could punch, he had stamina. He had it all. He wasn't like Canelo, who was just this flat-footed, come-forward slugger. That's what Canelo is. You can hate the fact, you can love that fact, but either way you cut it up, slice it, and dice it, it's a fact. Canelo Alvarez is a flat-footed slugger who got really good at parrying punches. That's what he is, and he can counterpunch too. That's what he is, right? Very limited. He mastered his limit, but he's limited nonetheless. Salvador Sanchez had a lot more with him, and mind you, not just that, but it's more so like, you guys want to talk about resumes, right? I always hear Canelo fans, when we compare fighters from today to Canelo, they say, what is his resume? What has he accomplished? How many champions has he beat? Okay? Salvador Sanchez, even on his short time on this earth, his resume takes a big, fat, hot dump all over Canelo's resume. You talk about Salvador Sanchez's resume, you're talking about, I mean, he beat what? He beat Juan Laporte. He knocked out Danny Lopez not once but twice. He beat Uzuma Nelson, knocked him out, and he beat Wilfredo Gomez. So we're talking about five wins against 4 Hall of Famers. You know, four of those wins were by knockout. He knocked out four Hall of Famers by the age of 23. He was on his, before he died on August 12th of 1981, August 12th, 1981, he was supposed to fight Juan Laporte in a rematch, because the first fight was very close. He was supposed to fight Juan Laporte in a rematch a month after that in September. So that would have been another win over a Hall of Famer, I think, okay? Then if he would have beat him, he would have had the biggest fight of them all. He would have fought Alexis Arguello. And who knows how that would have went, but I would have given him a great chance against Arguello, because Salvador Sanchez was on that level as a fighter. But even if you take all that was supposed to happen, and just look at what actually happened, forget Chavez, forget Canelo, forget everybody, okay? There is no Mexican fighter in the history of this damn sport that had that kind of resume by the age of 23. He didn't need to fight till he was 30. I mean, he didn't need to fight till he was 27 to prove he was great. He was already great and an icon at 20 years old, 21 years old, 22, and even when he died at 23, you know? There's been no Mexican fighter now or before that possessed the combination of skills, power, determination, durability, and courage of a Salvador Sanchez. When you talk about boxing, you can't even talk about boxing without Salvador Sanchez. When you talk about the great fighters of history, you can't even talk about it without talking about Salvador Sanchez, because, you know, a lot of people here talk about when they talk about Mexican fighters, they say, oh, well, the Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry. You know, the Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry was this, the Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry was that, you know. But guess what? The fight that started the Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry and the biggest fight in the history of the Puerto Rico-Mexico rivalry, the one that mattered the most and counted for something, was when Salvador Sanchez fought Wilfredo Gomez. And we know what happened in that fight. Wilfredo Gomez came up in weight. He had a truckload of knockouts in a row and was undefeated. And we know what Salvador did to him. He folded him up in 8 rounds. So don't give me. That's why, like, I'm glad Canelo got exposed for not being as good as advertised, because he was never in the same breath as Salvador Sanchez. And as good as Chavez was with all the fights he had, he's not on the same level as Salvador Sanchez. Salvador Sanchez will forever be the Mexican GOAT, because the amount of fights he had at that age was unprecedented. He was moving like one of the fighters from the 1930s and 1920s as far as activity is concerned. And he really didn't need to box till he was 25. He didn't need to have box at 27 or 30. He was already at 23 years old a first ballot creme de la creme top shelf Hall of Famer. We can't say that about Canelo, because when Canelo was 23, he got freaking schooled by Mayweather. Right? He had to continue to build his resume and get better. And there's no problem with that. Not everyone's the same. But that's also my point. Not everybody is the same. Salvador Sanchez was different in every sense of the word. A 15-round seek and destroy Mexican killer. All right. And this doesn't just go for Canelo. This goes to any Mexican fighter. You may be a great fighter, but there's levels of greatness. You know, there's levels. Yeah, like I'll use basketball for example. Yeah, you know, there's your Chris Webbers and there's the Chris Bosches and guys like that. You know, but then there's your Tim Duncans. You know, then there's your Michael Jordans. That's its own separate tier. Shaquille O'Neal. You know, it's just different. You know, so if you guys out there, and I speak to all boxing fans when I say this, if you don't know who Salvador Sanchez is, I would highly recommend you take the time to go watch his fights against guys like Azuma Nelson, Wilfredo Gomez, Juan Laporte. Just go watch his fights. Go learn about the guys he beat and what they accomplished in their career. And you sit back and you come here and you tell me that Canelo Alvarez was the best Mexican fighter of all time. I'm done. I don't even need to say no more. You guys have a blessed day.
Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button and surely you will not be disappointed. You know, True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, you know, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God.